everyone, my name is Nour. I am a women's health coach specialized in hormone health, and I am so happy to be doing this collaboration with Afia Council and Care, spreading awareness about mental health and the many different facets that can affect our mental health. And today I will be talking specifically about our hormone health and how it can affect mental health as well. So before starting, I will give you a little background about me, where I come from. I am 28 years old. I am a mother to three-year-old twin boys. A couple of years ago, I was diagnosed with PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome. And after going to different doctors and getting second and third opinion, all that was shared with me is that PCOS is not reversible. There's nothing that any doctor can do for me. And the only thing that they recommend is to lose some weight and go on the hormonal birth control pill to regulate my cycle. I will explain in a few minutes why I do these quotes. So yes, go on birth control pill to regulate my cycle. And if I ever want to conceive again in the future, then I should go seek fertility treatment. That was the only thing that was prescribed for me. And I was really upset with this. It didn't sit well with me. I was sure that there's something that can be done naturally to reverse my symptoms, and that simply masking my symptoms with the birth control pill did not seem like a fitting solution for my problem. So I went back home and started taking matters into my own hand. I did a lot of research. I spent month and month researching the topic, understanding more about PCOS, understanding more about my body, how is it supposed to function. And really every single day I was learning something new about the female body. And also how our hormones are so interconnected, and how if one thing is going wrong, it will create a chain of reaction, chain of events, and many things will go wrong all at once. So really understanding the importance of tracking back the root cause and not just working on fixing one symptom. So really that's when I started to realize that all of this information about the female body, no one knows about it. No one, I shouldn't say no one, very few women actually know how does the menstrual cycle work. What are the hormones that are involved with the menstrual cycle? What is a healthy menstrual cycle? What is not? All of these things are really crucial information for every single woman to have, and this is what fired a passion in me to spread this awareness, spread this information to as many women as I can. I started taking some courses about hormone health and really becoming more specialized in this area so that I can help other women, help them reverse their own symptoms by doing diet and lifestyle changes. And here I am now. So let's start today by explaining first and foremost what are hormones. So hormones are a chemical substance that's produced naturally in our bodies, and they generally have a specific target site or a specific action. So they are more like messengers that are secreted by different glands in our bodies, and they serve to control or coordinate different activities in the body. So let's take a deep dive into the menstrual cycle and understand really what happens on a hormonal level throughout our cycle and what are the parameters for a healthy menstrual cycle. So first of all, the menstrual cycle is divided into 4 different phases. We have the follicular phase, which is starting from the bleeding until ovulation, and then we have the ovulatory phase, where a few days before and after ovulation, and we have the luteal phase, which is after ovulation until your next bleeding, And then there's the menstrual phase, which is when you are bleeding, when you have your period. So throughout the cycle, we have different hormonal shifts that happened and are playing together in a chain of events to have a healthy, functional menstrual cycle. So believe it or not, the main event of the menstrual cycle is not your period, it's actually ovulation. Ovulation is the most important event in the menstrual cycle, and everything before and after is a direct consequence of ovulation. So let's talk about what happens in the first phase of your cycle, the follicular phase. So in the follicular phase, we generally start with low levels of hormones, and then we start producing more and more estrogen. Estrogen is the key hormone for the first phase of your menstrual cycle. This is the one that is preparing, maturing your follicle, your main follicle, main egg that is going to be released at ovulation time. So it's preparing it, it's maturing it, it's growing it. And then once we get closer and closer to ovulation, and once we get closer and closer to ovulation, there's a surge in estrogen, which also triggers a surge in LH, luteinizing hormone, which is responsible for releasing the egg out of the ovaries. And this is, LH is the hormone that we use when you're trying to track your ovulation and you use ovulation ovulation strips. This is the hormone that it's trying to detect. After ovulation, we have a drop in estrogen and a rise in progesterone. Now, progesterone is only secreted after ovulation. So starting from ovulation until your next period, progesterone is the hormone that is the most important. And then a day or two before your period, there's a drop again in your hormones in both progesterone and estrogen, and it is this drop that allows for the lining of your uterus that was building up throughout all of this cycle to start shedding itself, and you get your period. Now, what are the markers to look for to know if you're having a healthy menstrual cycle or not? So first of all, the menstrual cycle length in total from your first day of period until your next day of period, it should be between 24 to 35 days long. Anything shorter than that or longer than that means that there's some kind of hormonal imbalance that needs to be looked at. In general, a true period should always follow ovulation. It can happen from time to time that the body naturally does not ovulate, and in this case, if you do get a period, it's called a withdrawal bleeding, not a true period. So if that happens occasionally, once a year, that's completely normal. If it happens consistently, on the other hand, then it is absolutely not. If your body is not able to ovulate for months at a time, or it's struggling to ovulate and therefore you have irregular periods, then that's also a sign of some hormonal imbalance that's happening inside of your body that needs to be rebalanced. When it comes to your actual menstrual phase, your bleeding should last between 4 to 7 days, and the color should be a bright red color. At least your first few days of flow should be a bright red color. Now, when it comes to your actual period, your flow should last between 4 to 7 days, ideally, and your color should be a bright red color. You also should be having between 35 milliliters to 80 milliliters of blood loss in total for your whole period. Now, keep in mind that a fully soaked tampon or pad is equal to about 5 milliliters. So you can judge from that how many times do you need to change your pads or your tampons, and estimate how much blood loss do you actually have. Also, your luteal phase, which is from ovulation until the next period, the length of the luteal phase is really important because it gives us an indication of how much progesterone are you secreting. So this luteal phase should last between 11 to 16 days. Anything less than that means that you're not having adequate amount of progesterone. Now, the last thing, which can be quite a shock for many women, is that your menstrual phase, your period, should be coming unannounced. meaning that you should not be having any pain. Only mild discomfort is okay, but anything more than that is really not normal. You should be having a stable mood, clear skin, no cramping, nothing like that. So while these symptoms are very common, actually around 90% of women experience these symptoms, it's not normal. And it can actually give us clues as to what may be going wrong inside your body, which hormones are out of balance. So as you can see, there's a crescendo of different hormones playing together in your menstrual cycle, and each one is affecting the other in a way or another. So let's say, for example, if you have too little estrogen, then your body will be struggling to ovulate. If you don't ovulate, then your body will not produce any progesterone, which is really essential, as one of its main benefits is actually to block estrogen, because estrogen is really amazing and really beneficial for so many things, but too much estrogen, just like anything in life, too much of anything is not ideal. So one of the main benefits of progesterone is actually blocking estrogen. And so if you're not ovulating, then there's nothing to block your estrogen, and you end up with a lot of symptoms of the PMS, classic PMS symptoms like mood swings, like acne, cramping, all of these things. They are a sign of an imbalance between your estrogen and progesterone. So when we talk usually about all of these things, we say you have estrogen dominance, which means that you have high estrogen, but actually it's more about the ratio between estrogen and progesterone. Your estrogen can be just fine within the normal ranges, but maybe you have too little progesterone, and therefore the ratio is not adequate, it's not ideal, and you still end up having all the classic signs of high estrogen. Now, how does all of this tie in with our mental health? As I've just explained, it's very common for women to experience a drop in mood, a drop in energy, experience heightened anxiety, depression, and many mental health struggles, especially after ovulation and leading up to the period, especially the last few days before period. And this is what's usually called a PMS phase, and some women have it in a more severe form, which is called PMDD, and it's actually diagnosable by the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So what exactly is PMS and PMDD, and what are the differences? PMS is the most common type, and usually a woman going through PMS will experience different symptoms from one woman to another. It usually starts about a week before your menstrual phase and generally go away on their own once you start bleeding. Now, PMDD, which stands for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, is a more severe version of PMS, and usually it starts right after ovulation. Now, women going through this will experience a drastic shift in their mood from a day to the other, which can be so severe that some women are misdiagnosed with having bipolar disorder. They also can experience severe depression, severe anxiety, as well as all the physical discomfort and pains of the classic PMS symptoms. So as you can see, our mental health, our emotions are very much connected to our menstrual cycle and our shifting hormones throughout the cycle. So when I see women suffering with PMS and PMDD that are only being prescribed antidepressants, it really upsets me, because as you can see, there's a core issue that needs to be solved. This woman is not depressed, she's going through hormonal imbalance that needs to be fixed, and taking antidepressants, while it can be effective as a short-term solution, it will not help her on the long term. So really addressing the root cause of your hormonal imbalance will really be key in reversing your symptoms and feeling better. Now, what are a few things to look out for to understand more about your body and be able to detect where something is going wrong? There are a few other key hormones that are really essential, and for me they are the mother hormones that help to regulate all of this process. Now, the first one is insulin. So insulin is really important when it comes to your overall hormone health. Having too much insulin in your blood can cause many different things, including an inability or more challenges to ovulation. So insulin is really important to keep in mind and have it checked regularly. The other one is cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that's produced in the body, and usually if you're under stress for a long period of time, or if you experience chronic stress, your body will also not be able to function optimally, and also ovulation will be affected in many ways. Your thyroid is also really important, and it regulates most of our body functions. So if there's an imbalance in your thyroid hormone, if it's overworking, if it's underworking, then that will negatively impact your menstrual cycle and your hormone levels in general. Testosterone and DHEAS are also very crucial to have under control. Having high testosterone or high DHEAS, which are called androgen hormones, are very classical in PCOS women. They have symptoms of excess hair growth or hair loss or hormonal acne, things like that. It can also play a huge part in ovulation, so it's really important also to get it checked out. Inflammation also plays a very big part. So if you're eating the wrong kind of diet, if you're not sleeping enough, if you're constantly stressed, all of these things lead to increase in inflammation in your body. And finally, what I also take a look at is your levels of vitamins and minerals. They are really important. So how is your magnesium level, your iron levels, vitamin D? Vitamin D plays a huge role in ovulation as well. So as you can see, most of the things that I mentioned affect ovulation in a way or another. And as I said, ovulation is the most important event in the menstrual cycle. If you're having trouble to ovulate, or if you're not ovulating, then there are so many things that can go wrong in your cycle, which will lead to having really severe PMS symptoms, even worse PMDD, struggling with mental health and emotional health and all of these things. So it's really important to get to the root cause of your problem, as I said, and reverse your hormonal imbalance at its core. Now, it's really important also to understand that if you are taking hormonal birth control, you're not having natural healthy menstrual cycle because you're not ovulating. You don't experience any of the hormonal shifts that are natural and healthy in any menstrual cycle. You don't produce any progesterone, which will naturally block your estrogen, and all of the other benefits of progesterone. They're calming and relaxing and reduces anxiety, all of these things. Also, the birth control pill comes with its own negative side effects, including most of the time severe anxiety and depression and weight gain, which is the most commonly experienced by women. So in general, if you are having some mental health struggles, it's really important to understand if you are taking birth control, know that this can be a side effect of it, and also know that you're not helping your menstrual cycle by completely shutting off your hormones. Instead, you should be understanding what's going on a hormonal level and reversing it naturally. The most important part of all of this for me is having healthy lifestyle to allow optimal environment for your hormones to be produced in optimal amounts and to have a healthy cycle. So where to start if you are having some of these symptoms? What can you start doing right now to help improve your symptoms? For me, it will be a series of some diet and lifestyle changes, as I said. And the most important aspect for me is always diet. Just like food is one of the main reasons for illnesses in this world, I also believe that food can be a reason of curing these illnesses or not getting the illness in the first place. So most importantly for me is to balance blood sugar. I don't focus on eliminating types of food. I don't focus on having a calorie deficit or anything like that. I only focus on balanced blood sugar. What does this mean? This means that in every single meal and snack that you have throughout the day, you need to have adequate amount of carbs, protein, and healthy fat. So make sure you are getting enough. Make sure you're having a diverse diet filled with fruits and vegetables, and also adequate amount of protein and carbs. And also, very importantly, take a deep look at your gut health. What is your body trying to communicate with you? How is your gut health performing? Are you constipated most of the time? Do you have any acid reflux. How is your digestive system functioning? Most of our illnesses start from our gut. So if we heal our gut, we heal our symptoms. So that can also happen by doing some tests to understand what's happening. Do you have IBS or SIBO or any digestive problem? Understand if you have any food sensitivities. What foods are you sensitive to that make you have these digestive issues? Taking pre and probiotics will be really helpful to increase your good gut bacteria. All of these things can help you tremendously. Now, the second most important thing is having a balanced lifestyle and reducing your stress. So having stress management techniques, it could be in whatever form that you prefer. So it could be taking a walk in nature, doing some meditation, taking a warm bath, having your own spa at home, going to get a massage. Anything that makes you de-stress will be really, really helpful for you. And lastly, getting adequate amount of exercise throughout the week. So I usually recommend around 30 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week of any type of exercise that you like, anything that you enjoy and will be able to do consistently. Go ahead and do it. If you're someone that struggles a lot with anxiety or constant stress in your life, then I would recommend something a little bit more slow and low intensity. But really, anything you enjoy, anything that will get you to be consistent, go ahead. Exercise is really, really important for your health. So in the next few days, I would recommend you to start and listen more to the signs that your body is telling you. Understand how you are feeling. Become more in tune with your body. So try to understand if it's sending you hunger cues. Are you feeling hungry? Are you thirsty? Are you feeling tired? What do you need? What is your body needing from you right now and in the future? What can you improve in your diet and lifestyle to improve your hormone health and give you the best chances for a healthy ovulation and healthy cycle with no PMS symptoms? Yes, I know it can be hard to believe, but trust me, it's not impossible. I have done it myself and I have seen many other women do it as well, and the results are really incredible. So I hope this was really helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram at Balancing Hormones and Fertility, or on my TikTok account, Nour Health Coach, and both of them will be linked in the description box below. Thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon. Bye!